Let's read Henri's Scissors by Jeanette Winter. Henri Matisse is a famous artist, and he is from the country of France. This artist, Romare Bearden, spoke of Matisse. Matisse got as close as one can get to heaven with a pair of scissors. Henri's Scissors. In a small weaving town in France, a young boy named Henri-Émile Benoit Matisse watched his mother paint china. He wanted to paint too. He drew pictures in the sand, and he drew pictures in his school books. When Henri was a young man, he drew pictures in his law books and on contracts, deeds, and wills. Henri was sick in the bed with appendicitis one winter. Appendicitis is a sickness that some people get whenever your stomach hurts really bad in the area of your stomach, but it's called your appendix. Your appendix gets sick. His mother gave him a box of paints, and he painted until he was well. He kept on painting. He forgot about law and left his small town to be an artist in Paris. Henri painted pictures day after day and year after year. He was happy, and his paintings made people happy. But when Matisse was an old man, he fell ill. So ill he couldn't paint, so ill he couldn't sit up, so ill he could only lie in bed and sleep. His paintings floated by in his dreams. Matisse finally opened his eyes, and they were filled with sadness. Now he must remain in bed or use a wheelchair. Would he ever have the energy to paint again? When Matisse was strong enough to travel, he went to the seaside. The sea air might help him get well. Before long, he sat up. A little later, he drew. Then, one day, Matisse picked up a pair of scissors and cut out shapes from painted paper. He was drawing with scissors.
"A pair of scissors is a wonderful instrument,"
he said. Matisse cut paper all day. His assistants painted paper for him all day.
"My pleasure in cutting things out grows even greater. Why didn't I think of it earlier? It seems to me that I am in a second life."
Paper cutouts covered his walls. One evening, Matisse lay in the bed and drew the faces of his grandchildren on the ceiling with a piece of chalk tied to a long pole. As he fell asleep, they looked down on him and saw his dreams. They saw the shapes that surrounded him in sleep. As time went on, Matisse cut bigger and bigger shapes. They filled his seaside room with color. You see, as I am obliged to remain often in bed, that means as I am stuck laying here in the bed, I have made a little garden all around me where I can walk. There are leaves, fruits, a bird. I am deeply contented and happy. Then one night, Matisse walked out into his paper garden, and the rainbow of shapes cradled the old artist and carried him into the heavens. Are some of the stars we see at night coming to us from Henri's scissors? Perhaps. Probably not really, but it's kind of fun to imagine that he's up there cutting the stars. And he didn't really walk out into a paper garden, but this is just the author's way of writing that he passed away. So he died. It says he walked out into his paper garden, and the rainbow of shapes cradled the old artist and carried him into the heavens. So we're going to be feeding Mr. Scissors some snacks today, and we're going to be artists like Henri Matisse. So you're going to have a large white paper like this, or a large colored paper. It depends on your class. And then you're also going to have a basket today that's filled with different shapes. This is going to be part one of our project. You're also going to be cutting out some shapes that are all your own during part two of our project, but this is for today because we need to get some scissor practice in. So the first thing we're going to do is take our paper and fold it in half. So I'm going to take my paper the tall, long way. I'm going to match up the corners the best that I can, and I'm just going to keep my fingers there while they're matched up, and then I try to bring my hands down or bring my fingers down, and I am creasing the paper with my fingernail or with my finger. So now it's going to look like a little folder or a little open book. This is also going to be where I glue everything later, but for today, it's going to be my art folder. All right, now this is my basket of shapes. These are just some shapes that kind of look like some of the ones that we've seen or I've seen in Henri Matisse's artworks, and you'll see in some examples of his artworks too. So I'm going to show you how to do a couple of them. I'm going to do this wavy one and I'm going to do this spiral one because curvy lines are a little bit harder to cut, but you can totally do it. We're going to use both of our hands very equally because this hand that doesn't have the scissors is going to be just as important as the hand that does. Remember, your thumb goes in the little hole, the rest of your fingers go in the big hole, and then this is your helping hand. Your helping hand doesn't have any scissors, but it is so important. You're going to be moving the paper with your helping hand. You're going to be cutting with your scissor hand. So I'm going to start out with this one here. All right, so this has a lot of curvy lines, but I'm going to do two jobs at one time. These scissors are going to close very slowly while this hand over here is turning my paper for me. And you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm going to open and close, and we have a scissor song that we sing. Open, shut, that's the way we cut, cut, cut. Fingers on the bottom, thumb on top. Do not let the paper drop. Open, shut, that's the way we cut, cut, cut. All right, and I continue to go around these lines and see how my helping hand over here is the one turning the paper. If I can close these scissors slowly while I'm turning the paper with my other hand, I can do a really awesome job of cutting out these shapes. This one kind of reminds me of like a plant that you would see under the sea or in the ocean. And I just continue, and I'm being really, really careful to drive my scissors down the black road. There we go. All right, now I've got a beautiful shape, but look at this. I can also use this. I can keep this, and this is a really pretty white shape of the same plant or leaf or organic shape that I have here. Now this one looks like a toughie, but I know that we can do it. I'm going to open up my scissors. I'm going to close my scissors, and I'm going to start on the outside of this shape. And I'm pretending like I'm driving my scissor car down the road. And I try my best to stay on the road on that black line. So I'm just curving, 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 curving. Okay, keep on going around. All right, and then I turn back around and I follow that line. So Henri didn't actually draw his shapes out and then cut them out. We're doing this for some scissor practice, and then next time that we work on this project, we're gonna be cutting, and there's not gonna be any lines on the paper. We're just gonna try to cut out some really fun shapes from the paper. But today, you can pick out some shapes from the basket that you like. I would rather you have 3 or 4 really awesome shapes than 6 or 7 really messed up shapes. But look at this. I have one spiral here, and now I have another spiral here. Okay, there's lots of different shapes to choose from. All right, this is just a wavy line, but it's actually a wavy shape. And just like I said before, you're going to be turning your paper with your helping hand, and you're closing these scissors with your scissor hand. All right, both of the hands working together makes the job so much easier. Look at how I turn it while I'm closing them. It gives you those nice curvy lines. Now, as soon as I'm done cutting these shapes, if I want to keep these pieces here, I'm going to leave them in my folder today. I'm actually going to glue these next time. I'm not going to glue them yet. I'm going to arrange my composition and glue it later. But after I'm done cutting these shapes, I'm going to show you how to put them in your folder, and you need to let your teacher pick up the folder, because if not, the shapes are probably going to fall out on the floor. All right, so I know I want all these shapes, but if I kind of leave them laid out like this, they're gonna probably fall out of the side of the folder. So I like to make a nice neat pile right near this fold line. So I'm gonna make a little pile right here in the middle, and then I'm gonna close up my folder. Okay, my teacher can write my name on it, and then this can lay flat until next time whenever I get all of my shapes out and I start adding in more shapes like Henri Matisse. I can't wait to see what you guys create with your paper collages.